Remember that time you got rear-ended and felt like you were in a mental fog for days? Well, this could be because you were suffering from a concussion. This happened to me in the spring, and I was able to recognize the symptoms from my past experiences. The risk of getting a concussion is prevalent every day, from hitting your head on a tree branch to getting one while playing a physical activity. Concussions and its symptoms tend to be gender biased, which could be why I have so many of my own past experiences with them. The first thing you need to know is what a concussion is and how it affects the brain in someone's day-to-day life. According to Sports Injury Notebook, a concussion is a type of traumatic brain injury caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head or body that causes the brain to move back and forth rapidly. The risk of as stated before, the risk of a concussion can happen at any time. It just takes one hard hit to rattle the brain. According to Sports Injury Notebook, the sudden movement can cause the brain to bounce around the skull. This can sometimes create chemical changes which can lead to stretching and damaging of brain cells. A concussion sticks around and interferes with day-to-day life. According to the Scientific American Mind Journal, the symptoms can vary depending on person to person and can range from headache, confusion, and dizziness to memory loss, noise and light sensitivity, and irritability. Trying to do basic everyday activities such as going to work or going to school can be very difficult while suffering the symptoms of a concussion. It can be very difficult to concentrate or focus with one. In my personal experience, when I was in high school and had a concussion, I had to get accommodations to have longer test periods because I was unable to concentrate long enough to take a test, and I was able to have excused absences due to not being able to leave the house due to a migraine and not take gym class to avoid hitting my head once again. The light and noise sensitivities can make it difficult to even go outside on a bright day. Most people recover quickly, but some develop symptoms that last over a year. Although many people do recover within just a few weeks, some people develop post-concussion syndrome. Post-concussion syndrome, or PCS, can generally last up to 2 years. According to a neurorehabilitation article, typical symptoms include physical and cognitive fatigue, depressive behaviors, socially withdrawn, sensitivity to noise, irritability, concentration and problem solving, and much difficulty making decisions at the simplest strategic level. For example, I was 17 when I got my first concussion. I am now 20 years old and I'm still suffering symptoms from post-concussion disorder. As discussed, the concussion varies in how long it lasts. The question is why and whom the concussion lasts longer with. Concussions can affect anyone, but those that suffer longer or suffer from the symptoms longer can have prior health problems that prolong the symptoms of the concussion itself. Some health issues prior to a concussion that may prolong it are migraines and mental health issues, such as anxiety or depression. Although both genders can have either of these illnesses, women are typically exposed to these illnesses and have reported a higher rate of them prior to their concussions reported to the Scientific American Mind Journal. Another reason why women might suffer longer from concussions than men is due to the size of their neck. Women typically have smaller necks than men, which means they are weaker and are not able to absorb as much shock from a hit. As a result, females may experience greater linear and angular acceleration of the head and body to lead into greater cognitive dysfunction. Women can also suffer from their concussions longer due to their menstrual cycle. One study that was published in the Scientific American Mind Journal in 2014 showed of 144 women reported during certain parts of their cycle, their brain injuries took longer to heal. This could be due to researchers think this could be due to the fact of the drop of the level of proestrogen, a female sex hormone. Now that we know of some reasons that might make concussions longer in women, we can also compare the symptoms among women and men. Concussions tend to give sleep disturbances, which can be classified as 5 things: drowsiness, trouble falling asleep, sleeping more than usual, sleeping less than usual, and fatigue. According to the Sleep Medicine Journal, after a single concussion, females have significantly increased sleep disturbances, while men show very minimal changes in their sleep. However, after experiencing many concussions, both genders show the same amount of sleep disturbances. As well as sleep disturbances being greater in women than men, so is developing post-concussion syndrome. This could be due to the fact that women can take twice as long to heal than men. Women significantly show a higher of a poor long-term outcome than men do. This means that women can have their symptoms longer than men and can even live with permanent post-concussion syndrome symptoms. With the knowledge that women tend to suffer from more symptoms and longer than men, it raises the question, is one gender more vulnerable to concussions than the other? Besides all the outside factors already discussed as to why women tend to have longer and worse concussions than men, there might be something internal that also affects this. The study that was released in Scientific American Mind, led by Douglas Smith, director of the Center for Brain Injury and Repair at the University of Pennsylvania, might have the answer. He showed that there are differences in axons, which are the output wires of neurons. Axons transport various things throughout the brain, including proteins that are used mainly for repair and maintenance, as well as transmitting the electrical signal of cognitive function, which is directly linked to why women suffer from cognitive dysfunction so much during their concussions. In Smith's study, it shows that women's axons tend to be thinner than men's, and women also tend to have less microtubules than men do. Microtubules are connected by proteins that become stiffer the faster they are stretched. And if axons are stretched too rapidly, these proteins pull on microtubules and tend to break. Since men have more microtubules than women do, their structure is more likely to stay intact and is less likely to break over a period of time or over a period of blows. So now it is clear that women do not only have an increased chance of getting concussions due to their prior health, but also due to their structure being built different than a man's brain structure. Although women are more prone to receiving a concussion, anyone can get one. A concussion is a brain injury that takes time to heal on its own standards and based on the person's prior health. The possibility of a concussion can occur any day if you are not careful enough or the people around you are not being safe. The key is to be careful and take a few extra seconds in whatever you are doing to ensure avoid hitting your head.